Well, hey, folks, what a day in the Daybell Trial. I hope you're catching pieces and parts of this. And if you have been, it was awfully difficult to listen to today. Frankly, almost makes you glad you're not sitting in the courtroom. Well, hey, folks, it was a full day for the Daybell trial, but the big news was when Lori suddenly decided she didn't want to be in the courtroom to hear any more testimony about the way in which her children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow, were discovered. I don't know if it was too much for her or if it was theatrics, and I'm going to be looking for your comments down below. And I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell. Now, this afternoon, I joined Michael Ayala and Ashley Wilcott on Court TV for a couple of minutes just to answer a quick question. I did it while I was on a break at work. And the question was pretty darn simple. It was all about how much is religion playing into this case. Let's listen.
All right, joining us for this segment, a very special guest, retired police commander and host of Profiling Evil, and that's a podcast you don't want to miss, and author of Deceived, an investigative memoir of the Zion Society cult, Mike King. Mike, thank you so much for joining Judge Ashley and I here on the show. And let me begin, because you've investigated, cults, upon cults upon cults. This is an area you know very, very well. But as far as this trial is concerned, the whole religious angle, and we just heard a whole thing by Ted there about what's going on with this couple. It really is the center of this whole thing. But is it truly important to this trial, or is it somewhat of a red herring?
I think the religion can actually just create a lot of noise if they focus on the religious aspects, quite frankly. What they need to do, and I think they're doing it, is focusing on the elements of the crime, elements of murder, elements of conspiracy. And then, in my opinion, and frankly, based on investigating a whole batch of ritual crimes over the course of my career, recommendations that we made to prosecutions and investigators is kind of push all that aside for a bit, focus on the elements, but when you get to the sentencing phase, bring all of that in as an aggravating factor.
One of the next things that we really talked about that I want you all to weigh is how much does religion play into this as far as a defense for Lori Vallow in this case?
And Mike, it's so great to have you on and to meet you, at least in terms of the virtual meeting. But tell us this, because that's for the prosecution. I respect you do prove the elements. But what about the defense? Is religion something that a defense team can lean into and be successful with a jury potentially?
You see it happen a lot, and frankly, you see them doing it, I think, again, as much to create noise as anything else. When your case is kind of shaky, you got to attack the investigator or the belief system or something else. So what it really boils down to, in my opinion, is that the prosecution has to keep bringing the jury back to the fact that these individuals, through their behavior, showed that they understood what society's standards were, yet they chose to violate it anyway. And they chose to violate it in a way that they continued to back that up by doing things to avoid detection, to avoid being discovered. I mean, holy cow, if they really believed they were getting rid of zombies, I think they'd be on the rooftop shouting out that they got rid of another zombie.
Fair enough.
Another thing that I'd like you to kind of pay attention to and weigh in, if you don't mind, is how much is religion going to play into Lori Vallow's defense in this case? And do you think it'll have a bearing on whether people hold her accountable or not?
And you know what's interesting, and again, you've studied these cults, and guys like Chad Daybell, he's sort of at the top of the food chain here. I would even venture to say he was somewhat even of a deity-type figure to some of his followers. But yet the prosecution has made the argument that it was really Lori who was manipulating things. She was the one who was directing all of these things to happen. In your experience with these guys like Chad Daybell, could that be a fair characterization of their relationship?
Yeah, and I think we're seeing in some of the discussion, Chad saying, "Hey, I'm John the Just." Holy cow, what a pat on the back he's given himself there. He's already setting himself up to be someone of greatness. But now Lori comes in as this priestess of sorts who, along with him, create a leadership community. And people are looking to the two of them for decision making, and you can hear it in some of the podcasts that she did early on in the Preparing the People group, or that I think it was called Warrior Up or something like that. And you hear it in some of the discussions. I'm not a biblical expert, but I keep going back to this idea that everything I read in the Bible said that when demons were discovered, they cast them out and they went into swine. These guys come up with the idea you got to murder people.
Our discussion then kind of centered around who was really in charge. Was it Chad Daybell or was it Lori Vallow? And a lot of you have been asking. You've been asking about who was the aggressor in the relationship. And I don't think it matters. What really matters is that gas and flame came together, apparently, when those two got together. But I wanted to share a few comments that I had about cults, how they lean and look toward the leader, and whether two people can serve in that leadership position. Let's listen.
So let me ask you, though, about the piece that you said that they understood society standards and then chose to violate them anyways. Is there an argument to be made, and I'm not saying that I necessarily believe it, but that there could be one of these two is the leader who knows that, right, and did it anyways, and then convinced the other one, who then believed in their mind that they were doing it for religious reasons versus violating standards that they knew were part of societal norms?
Yeah, I love that, because what you do is actually set up what could be their entire defense of, hey, I'm just the voice of God. This other person was the arm of God, or the one that got to do the dirty work of my bidding. And that's why this conspiracy, and the fact that you don't have to be the physical person that commits a homicide. You're involved in this thing and you have responsibility. And I think this is where behavior is going to play in so importantly. And I hope the prosecution really drives home the behavior that, hey, they made these comments, they set the stage, and then they tried to get away with it.
All right, Mike King, thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate all your expertise. And Michael, I have to say this, speaking of behavior, I just still think, and we talked about it a little earlier, the behaviors we're going to see out of this trial have yet to come.
Yeah, and the ones we've seen so far, to Mike King's point, evince some sort of guilt.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I think you need that to go along with this idea that religion made them do it, and that might, we give a lot of deference to religion in this country.
Hey folks, I want to pause real quickly because I don't know if you've been catching my story maps, but I hope you'll go catch the story map with some updated information in it, and especially go back and listen to Chad Daybell when he's presenting at Preparing a People, and you can also hear Lori when she's talking on that Warrior Up podcast at one time. I think you'll enjoy searching that story map, and you can find it by going to profilingevil.com and look under story maps. You might enjoy looking at some of the other cases that are out there and get a little bit of a refrain from the Daybell case. Hey folks, it's Mike from Profiling Evil, and I want to just take a quick minute to remind you about the Chad and Lori Daybell story map. You can find it at profilingevil.com under story maps, and I hope you'll go over and visit it. It gives you a chance to go through and kind of explore this case from beginning to end. Has all kinds of information about those first hearings, about what happened. But then I think one of the things that's pretty dang cool is it goes in and it talks about them individually. Not only has an overview, but it has a way to check out more about Lori, her former husbands, where she lived, Chad and his former wife, Tammy, and the circumstances leading up to her death. You can learn more about what light and dark is, according to them, and actually hear Chad speaking at one of those Preparing a People conferences. You can go into other family members like Stacy Cope, Joseph Ryan, Charles Vallow, Alex Cox, JJ and Tylee. You can look at the court processes, and you can get a little more information about Profiling Evil. So again, I hope you'll go back and check that out. Now let's get back to the program. Well, there you go, folks. I hope you'll check out Court TV tonight. I'm going to be meeting with Vinnie Politan, and we're going to be talking about what happened today during the trial. It was a roller coaster day with a lot of theatrics, especially right after the lunch break when Lori decided she couldn't sit through it anymore. Imagine how Kay Woodcock feels. We know how Larry Woodcock felt because he was sobbing throughout much of the trial. And the investigator said what a tough day it was. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Profiling Evil, and I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell. Consider joining our channel memberships. My favorite is the Academy level, and it's a place where you can get a whole lot more information. It costs you a little bit more, but we really do appreciate your financial support, and it does help. You can check out my book, Deceived, and I want to thank Michael for bringing it up on Court TV today. We're pushing the proceeds toward building a new Children's Justice Center, a place where children can be forensically examined and prepared for the criminal court system and testifying. They're amazing places. And frankly, the second one built in the United States 33 years ago housed the children from the Zion Society, the focus of this book. So I have a real strong opinion about it. Hey, thanks for your support of Profiling Evil. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you like podcasts, go to Profiling Evil Podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. We just dropped a few more that are coming out today, so you might really enjoy going over there. Hey, thanks, and we'll see you soon at the next crime scene.